Hear me? Yes, probably you can hear me. Dear friends, the name of our public talk has many words. If we understand all the words, it means that our meeting is very good one, useful one. How to love adolescents. If I start thinking about that, I understand that I understand nothing in this formula. What does it mean? How to love them? We understand how to love because we are wonderful, we are amazing parents who cannot but love. I think that probably microphone should be louder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Better. I will repeat the last idea which I articulated. We know how to love. And this formula is very well known to you. If there would be children here, they would agree with me. Because you always say that, okay, I love you, I love you anyway. Do like this, you will be thankful to me. It's such a integral part of everything we do. I will tell you about my vision. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me. And the second part, you should understand how to love. It's not irony, I mean it. Because to me, not everything is really clear. It's a virtual dressing that I love you. Dear friends, if any moment any of you want to say something, please don't wait, don't hesitate. Just raise your hand, or don't raise your hand, you can just shout and I will react. And the second story, teenager, adolescent. This word is very strange. You can knock. Healthy Moscow, your neck should be healthier. If you knock, osteochondrosis, prevention. A very strange word. Very strange. You know, 3 days ago, in our school I had a lesson of literature. And the lesson of literature was, the subject was Fitzgerald's book, and before that book was written, nobody was talking about that. And all of a sudden, one girl, when we were discussing that, said, it's just like we are adolescents, remembering von Wiesing. If you remember Tolkien, hobbits were not grown up people. You understand everything about children. Children are children. Nice babies, nice children, but there is another formula what children are. Just between us, in double brackets, we can say that we cannot understand what children are. And their status is more or less clear. Those whom we can make do everything we want. There are some ways of doing that. I will remind you of that. Adults. Everything's clear. With adults, because we understand everything. We know everything. And this whole, since the age of 11 till the age of 18, what shall we do with them? It's impossible, absolutely impossible. They start talking. And every day, it's very difficult to do something with them. And on the other hand, they are not adults. It's impossible to treat them like adults. And there is a word adolescent. Teenager. I'm very sincere, I believe that it's the most ugly word which exists in Russian. Подросток, adolescent, not a human. Someone who hasn't grown up. And in order to understand that, I will remind you about the ages. The first age, 3 years old. 3 years old, what about 1 year? Awkward age. When a 1-year-old child starts to walk, how can we know that? A child cannot tell us, and we cannot take it seriously. We, adults, know when an awkward age is, but a child cannot judge about his awkward age. I start walking, I start talking my first word when I realized that I can talk. When I have a vision connection with my mother, it's not an awkward age, or not. So every age is awkward. Are we in the awkward age at the moment? Those who sit here. And the more interesting your life is, the more awkward your age is, because our humanity is flexibility. We can be different. Okay, 3 years old. When you are 3 years old, it's a very important stage of our life. Before you are free, a person thinks that he or she is the world. The parents who explain a child of 2.5 years old to whom belongs the toy, you should not be jealous. You should share your toys. It's impossible because before you turn 3 years old, the world is you. If you can hide, what do they play? Why do people like to play seek and hide? Because they are dumb? Or because the world is this child? Then I cannot see anybody. I believe that nobody can see me. 3 years old. And after that, there is separation. And I understand that the worlds are different. I am the world, and my mom is something separate from me. And then I jump to the future, I will not ask you. 7 years old. At 7, an amazing thing happens. 5 years old children come to mom and say they have a headache. And mom says, I will kiss you and you will have no headache. And it works. It's an amazing story. 8 years old, this focus doesn't work. This trick will not work because I understand that I am the world, you are the world. Everything is separated, everything is individual. I'm an individual system. And a child starts to research, to study the system. And then we go to the time which is called adolescent, the awkward age. Do you remember what happens? Again. You don't remember? Really? You don't remember yourself? At this age? Awkward age, this so-called teenage, is a very amazing thing. It's a period when you check everything, you inspect everything. After you turn 7, when my mom or my dad told me that this works like that, I believed that, because my mom and dad are very important people for me. From 3 to 7 years old. My mom is a person whom I believe, in whom I trust. Part of things that we do with children till they turn 7 happens because we are not capable to resist this seduction, to be a god for a child. When you are a god, it's very difficult not to take all the advantage of that. And every time there are these formulas, not with you, of course, assembly, healthy Moscow, with other people who live on other planets, you have to eat the cereal. Why, Mom? Because if you don't, you will be a weak boy. Your mom lies, but a child believes. And it's a very interesting phenomena, because the God cannot lie to you, cannot cheat you. If you behave like that, a policeman comes. I believe my mom that a policeman will come because my mom is a goddess, and she cannot lie. And you will understand why I'm talking about that and what it has to deal with the adolescents. It's a very complicated moment because I'm sincere with you. It's difficult not to be seduced by this sin. It's difficult not to take all the advantage of this formula, because when a child believes your every word, even all of us do it, and it happens. And I remind you again, if you want to ask something, don't wait for the final, because we have just 1 hour 15 minutes, which is a very small period of time. And then when we go to the age which is called since 11 years old, the age of testing everything. It's a very interesting connection with the thing that happens before you turn 7. A child, a teenager, is testing everything. Previously, he was pretty confident on what happens because his mom or his dad said that. And my personality is designed the way that I have to test everything. It's not I can test, I must. Like the majority of 3 years old, play seek and hide, the majority, not all of them. The majority of teenagers at the age since 11 till 18 years old, they test everything. If it's not so, it should be a matter of concern. And we have problems. Because even yesterday I could tell you, and everything was clear. Yesterday I could take a tool out of my pocket of forcing. I can force someone. And now my child grows up to the moment when he says, Dad, come on, I have my own tools and instruments. Where did you get it from? And I say, you gave it to me. When? When you forced me to do something, to have a result. When you told me that I have to eat all the cereal, and told me that I will not be a strong person or a beautiful girl. When you told me that I have to do my homework, and I asked, Dad, come on, why do I have to do this homework? And the only answer was, how can you ask this type of question? Or, come on, don't you understand? Dad, I realized that this is a tool which you gave me when you opened the door to my room or to my life, and you forced me, and I have to clean my room, where my pants should be, where my socks should be, and some mantras that if you do not interfere in my life, you will have a mess till the end of your life, you will have no friends, nobody will talk to you. Wasn't that the moment when you couldn't stop and realize that maths, chemistry, Russian language or other disciplines, I will never become a real individual? And at that very moment, Dad, you gave me these tools which I am using now. Everything will be fine at the end, don't worry. But the matter of this testing is very important. I repeat this idea again for the third time. I apologize for that. A person is testing, and a person has to test. Moreover, he or she is testing everything because the nature wants so. And he is testing obvious things. Let us turn the page, and probably later we will come back. So-called teenager. Remember the mermaid, Hans Christian Andersen. I will teach you how to knock. Remember that she has legs, she walks heavily like on a blade of a knife. And a teenager at that age behaves like a mermaid, like walking for the first time. And despite the fact that there are adults around him, mom and dad around him, people who understand everything, but the teenager has to test everything. I remind you of your teenage. One day I can fall in love and stop being in love a number of times. I can lose the best friend and I can find the best friend. On one day I can be offended. I can learn how to apologize. I can learn how to cooperate. It's very difficult for me to leave. My life is very difficult because I perceive the world with bright colors, multiply everything that we see by 100, by 1000. That is why we react like that, we respond like that. Because I'm getting blind because of this world. And in this life, especially in the beginning of so-called teenage, remember how our life is working. Remember, everybody has to teach me. Why you walk, why you stop walking, why didn't you have an old lady, why you help this lady, why did you do that, why did you do this? And it continues non-stop because adults are used to use these tools. I don't want to offend you, please. I know that you are different, but the key tool is instrument of suppression, tool of suppression. You have to do that. You must do that. No matter what you want to do, there are things which are more important, which you must do. And we're starting to talk about love. We always have an excuse, and this excuse is an amazing one. As in a wonderful movie says, you live not for happiness, but for honesty. Because the world is a jail, is a prison, and we world, in accordance with the laws of this prison, he has to be tough. Let us spoil his childhood. Not even, I don't mean you, other parents. This is how it works. And I will tell you how it works. And a spoiler. It works like that because we are living creatures. We are humans and we understand that something goes wrong. It cannot be like that. That we just spoil, we just break the life of our life. And the excuse is that life is not a piece of cake. Life is something that should be very sad. And we return back to this teenager. This teenager comes from this bright life where he walks like a mermaid. He comes home and at home. You understand that it continues. And one question which we could think about, where these teenagers could have rest. Where is his asylum? Then he or she can lay on bed wearing shoes, which is terrible, and cry, and to be sad, and to think. And just to look at the ceiling, where is this place? If this place exists, it's obviously.
Because it's our house, our home. A home is a place where you feel good, where I'm accepted, where I can live according to my own laws in my own home, my rules, my home. You've heard that. That's the best what the grown-ups can do. That's not this girl's house. That's no, it's my house. You're like renting a corner to the child, and then this manipulation goes on. Then goes manipulation with food. One step to prostitution. Actually, you cannot pay for yourself, right? Well, be nice to follow my rules. What you goddamn mean? Father, mother, we are not speaking about love here. We're speaking about this preparation to this upcoming future. about this life which you imagine for me, for a teenager, like you're pushing me, pushing a whole bunch of shit up the hill, and it's not like that. No, there will be no joy. Life is pain just because you always. Why? Just so. In this marvelous, incredible condition, of course I'm exaggerating, but I don't have much time. Anytime you can stop me to feel, no, Dima, it's not like that, and how is it? And so on. Open dialogue with the audience and the whole story. Anyhow, in these conditions, a person who is stuck in this condition stop to use the tools which we have mentioned. Now, let's say a few words about love in this first part. In this culture, it's normal to, make faces, roll your eyes up, speaking about love. How can you explain what love is actually? It's like, it's not some aspirations sitting under the full moon. Love is quite a simple and quite a practical story, by the way. Loving a person is making his life better. Loving a person is making life comfortable for him. Loving a person means making his life interesting. Prevent him from feeling that life is going in vain. He's going somewhere from 8 to some time every day. It's like doing that to make this person feel well. Now just give me half a second, hurry, and let's go in a comment after that. Let's skip once more into this life of this wonderful person. I'm coming home after school. Mom, can I take an ice cream? No, first you need to, you have to eat. Okay, can I have a walk with Koля? Where are you going? Do your homework. Mom, I see a wonderful video I was sent here. Hey, and who is reading? Who will be reading? I have a question. Dear parents, just don't be scared about that. Is that love? Don't answer. Yeah, something like, sort of. Here now pops up something which always floats, and you know what's that? That's the same mantra as like, we're doing it in love. How can you say about this? The proper anger. Like tearing t-shirt on your head. What do you want? Do you want anarchy? Do you want chaos? No, I don't want anything. I will wish something in a few minutes, but let's test this formula. It's quite a complicated thing. It's quite a weird thing. Just let's leave you in a happy certainty that you cannot go a different way. Nevertheless, it's quite strange. That's quite a strange thing about this very backbone instead of which I have the front line. And it's quite hard to live like that. The question is, and here we are. Well, it's done for that feeling good, but this good is to the parents who decide what is good. Parents think that now instead of your video we can read something because you will feel better because out of that. In the long run it will be good for you. What's your name, by the way? Veronica. Veronica. Can I just address you like that? Fine. Well, can I be straightforward or I can go sideways? I can go straightforward, right? It's hallucination. Generally, it's a very strange story. Like I'm a prophet. You're saying about yourself, not about yourself. I know what you will need to feel good. Come on, Veronica, how am I gonna spend my evening night? Right? You see, you can foresee. Now tell me the story. It's so easy. It's much easier than catching a person and say, I don't quite get what's gonna happen. I'm not understanding what your life is going to be, who you're going to fall in love with, how you're going to live. But I know that in 20 years, the different thing, Veronica and her whole company, because I don't want to cast stones to you and to us, because I know the chemistry behind that. I know how it works. Why do we start taking these hallucinations as crazy ones? Why do we start to invent these crazy things and use these tools? Let me say a few more words about that, because otherwise it will be just pathetic speeches instead of essence. You see what? Sure, right, correct. I'm gonna say that, but give me one more second, please. We have many wishes, each of us. So you can see that I have a person I love next to me. No doubt at all. I love this person. Veronica and the whole company. Guys, I want, openly and frankly, I want that my part of this person would be successful, bright, nice, and so on and so forth. And if at least I do some thoughtful steps, you know, I can do a whole bunch of mistakes. And I will start becoming Cassandra and telling person how his life is gonna be developing. And one of the main parent sensations is fear. Just to give it a double check. Are we scared? Are we afraid? We're afraid of everything. We're afraid that he will have some ascites. And we here just put your hat on. And Dima is coming. Parents, hey, do you want your children to be fine with terminal regulation? Parents, like, yeah, of course we do. And keep saying, put your hat on, because it's obvious that a young person perfectly understands when he feels cold, when he feels hot. If before he was not taught that hat is a gadget or a gizmo that should always be on your head, We say, you have to finish your meal, and Dima comes and says, parents, do you want that your child would not can be confused if they are hungry or if they are not? Dima, why are you asking this question? What, you're crazy? And we keep telling the same thing, because I'm not criticizing you, just keep cool, because we're afraid. We're afraid and we cannot resist. We are going this wonderful old path. Because it's gonna happen. Because if we would have stopped for a second, and we have to say how to stop it and how to switch this love into love, maybe something's gonna happen. Go on. Right. I cannot hear you. Here, there is a second mic. Yes, hello. As you know, we're going from one extreme to another. If a child is going without a hat, it will be your responsibility later on. And in fact, you want to have less troubles with him. You want him to be like a pet living in your home. You know what I'm going to tell about that. First thing, I have crazy news for you, dear parents. The child will not go without a hat. Just keep cool, yeah, keep breathing. The child will not go without a hat. Miraculously, he understands better than we do when he feels hot and when he feels cold. I know what's going to go next, and I'm going to tell it to you. The child surprisingly knows that when he is hungry and when he's not. He knows that to a certain moment, my dear Muscovites, to the moment before we made him crazy. Because when my mother says, we have to finish my meal, I'm 4 years old, she says, you have to feed, because otherwise I will have problems, you will die of hunger, I'm gonna bury you this summer. You have to finish your meal. What's happening to me when I'm 4 years old? I'm sorry, I have cognitive dissonance, because I understand that I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry, but the divine person tells me to finish my meal. And what I'm doing this time? I'm finishing my meal. I finish my meal, sometimes crying. And something happens, what I call a model, being a professional. That's a model of world perception, model of demeanor and of the behavior. This audience, most of people, confuse the feeling when they're fed up with the feeling of hunger. When I was this and that and that, and you just look at the buffet, everybody was there, everybody knows this experience. Second point, this story about doing, you know this, Untermensch, is trying to get cool, to piss himself, to poop himself, to fall out a window, to stick his head into an oven, it says demonization. It's called demonization. I beg your pardon. I'll give it an example. This example is like everywhere, even in my book. Those who know it can bear it. 200 years ago, this audience wouldn't have been a single woman. Wow. You know why? Why didn't they have rights? Why? No, not because. Why a woman had 200 years ago to stay at home? Give me the justification. Just shout it out. What's wrong with that? because she is carrying the tenderness of the house. You know, despite of your young age, I will open your eyes. Are you without parents here? That's good, because they would really be abusive to me. You know, the main theory about women 200 years ago, because if you let a woman outside, she's a sinful, stupid creature and is gonna fuck with everybody, whoever. Sorry to be that frank and open. There would be only men sitting here who, judging on the most contemporary to that time theories, would tell me that a woman is not a human. They would sit here, nod, raise hands, and tell me, "How can you speak about that? Because if I let her out, I will have problems. Because she will definitely do that." How you do it? I read a book, or I was told. I know it for sure. Surprisingly, the page has turned, and we have figured it out more or less. I'm not very satisfied with the result. Nevertheless, it's going somewhere, because first of all, dear ladies, you say that we perfectly understand something's wrong here, and we want to change it. And then there were black guys, right? And there was such minorities and other minorities, so on and so forth. And then, my dear, we came to the point when we finally came to a consensus through that. And this consensus is wonderful. We are grown-ups, and they are just dreaming to get cold, to undereat, and to ruin my important mission in this life. So, saying it in simple terms, that's called discrimination. This very discrimination, which used to be towards women, towards black people, is absolutely the same. And discrimination goes hand in hand with demonization, because in order to discriminate, I have to personally demolish these personalities, these ladies. I have to say that I'm not racist. No, it's fine. But how can I let her out? Well, what, you nuts? Just imagine what she can do. I will definitely have problems. I'm not a racist, dear friends. I'm not saying that. But these black guys go into theater together with me. They will be laughing improperly. They will ruin the show to me and to them. Let them do what they have to do to process cotton, for example. So on and so forth. There is another problem. That we are dealing with a group of people which believes each and every word from us. Contrary to women who say there's something wrong here, contrary to different race or different nationality representatives says, you know, we are fine with our conscience, we know that we are being discriminated. This is a group of population, half of population of the planet, in fact, cannot tell us till a certain moment, because it cannot cannot think that I'm wishing evil to him, that he has to finish a meal, because what I'm doing, I'm telling that I'm willing him, wishing him every good. So eat till you can. The belly will hurt, but your mom will be fine. You had questions, but I have 2 more blocks, so please feel free. My name is Gena. The question is how this fear can be transformed into love. If we can, we're speaking about Gena. Gena is just hitting the bullseye. He says, Dima, get to the essence of your lecture, you know. I was telling stories, you know, and tales. Right, Gena. For example, let's take a girl, she's 15 years old, and she says, Mom, I'm going to have a walk. When are you going to be back? I'm going to be back at 10 p.m. 10:15, she's not home. 10:30, she's not there. 11 p.m. she's not there. 11:43, the door is opening, and this piece of shit is coming here happy. So this point cannot be perceived by the mother's heart. And obviously, he's worried. I was worrying, and that's the key thing worldwide. The main priority. Just take a look at this nonsense, at this paradox. Just take a look at that and maybe tell something contrary to that. The same mother and the same father will definitely tell us, what do you want for your child? And she is happy here. Mom, your dream is there. No, I'm not here. What did you mean, mother? I'm not telling about that. That's a heavy talk. You know, it's so strange. That mother was worried about that. And just take a look about on that. She's coming home happy. She's bringing this joy and happiness home. Gena, take a look at that. Something is happening to her that she could have, I could have divided with her and become happy with her as well. But absolutely different stories happening with me. And it would be unfair from my side if I wouldn't have touched upon the story that the mother is getting upset. The mother is going, yeah, I have called to all the, my probably daughter was hit by a truck and 18-wheelers struck her and she is dead all over the place. So it sounds fair. But why the girl is not calling her mother? Because she feels good. Wonderful. Mother wants her to feel good. Why doesn't she call her mother? Oh, really nice. Because she knows that mother will be angry about her. Yeah, come on. Because, let's say, the girl knows that if she calls 10:15, most probably, not everybody is like that, most probably, you know, I'm just doing it in big strokes and big brushes. She understands that at 10:15 she says, come home. And her happiness will end up. And now take a look at that. What a smart girl is doing in my story. She is stealing another hour of happiness from her mother because she feels good. She doesn't want to feel bad. This is an incredible story. Come on, I'm worried. Why haven't you make a single call? Come on, Mom, how can I make a call? Mom, who are you calling, by the way? I can ask you, for example. Who do you call to? And I will tell you, I will remind you to have a talk. You're calling to people who you want to share with. You're calling to people who accept you the way you are. You're calling people who you can call and say, come on, I had a first kiss in my life, going back to this girl. And you will hear on the other end, wow, that's cool, amazing, come on. You must be kidding me. You'll tell me afterward. And you know what happens in this model? I want to call. I want to make these calls because when I'm calling, when I'm writing for some certain purpose, for something really, really important, and this something in my life is built up more or less the same way. I am developing. It's important for me to speak through something, some impressions, some emotions with a person who will help me to live through it. And it's so cool when it's mother and father. Come on, but going back to our girl, 15 years old, who invented that she had the first kiss, so come on. There was no way out for her. And in this situation, she understands that the door's open and there will be an argument. Just how are your memories on your teenage age? It's not about you, come on, just live it out. She is acting smart based on her intuition. All right, let's roll the story back. And what mother should do? Dima, come on, you are just angry about her action, not angry about anyone. What the mother should do? Now, there are so many ways out for this mother. You have to openly say, what do I want? And not to be satisfied with the answer, I want her to be happy. It's not about happy. If you want somebody to be happy, you have to be at least a little bit interested. What is happiness for a different person? Because regardless of my temptation, Veronica, breaking through that and telling that first I have to force him to do something, but I want him to be with a happy face, making a happy face, to catch by the tail, you catch yourself by the tail, that I'm doing something wrong, I'm ruining something, and he will fail to do it because I cannot do it. That means you have to think about that a little bit earlier. That means it would be cool to answer the key question of today's section. How is it loving? And not to be satisfied with the question, I don't know how. There is no way of thinking it. Just to figure it out, what does it mean to make the life of this person nice, cool, comfortable? How is it? How is that? And understanding at that moment that I am a living person, regardless of the size and the age. And to understand that, understanding happiness of this person is a small way how to talk. Yeah, ask him, come on. It's obvious. Though I want to be this supreme creature, which would say, I know how to make you happy. And, having this shiver inside. I know. I have no idea. I cannot know it. I hardly know what I need to be happy. Just don't not to me, not inside yourself. Of course, he will tell something to me, or something else, so on and so forth. There is another moment about mother's concern, which I can say I perfectly understand. The fear is built, okay, in general terms, is built the following way. Of course, this mother has an opportunity to stick this girl, to nail this girl to the wall, or to lock her in her home. I have to remind you one thing. Does it remove the fear? There is a different fear. You are locked in your room, but in a different position. You will develop in a wrong way, because the fear, when we cannot grab it, and we do not want to grab it and to touch it, is built the same way. It reproduces itself. And as soon as she comes home at 10 p.m., we'll have a different fear, like, why is she so unhappy? Maybe something wrong is happening and something terrible is happening in her life. Maybe I should interfere. Or she is wearing a wrong dress and she's looking like a hoe. There are many things I can be worried about at that moment. That's why, again, I'm speaking about love. This is a point where I can grab my fear. Is a critical one. A critical fear, because it is of critical importance, because at this moment when I understand that I'm afraid something surprising is happening, because this moment I'm afraid, right? And who has to figure it out, how to deal with this fear? It's obvious. If I'm afraid, it's me to fight this, who has to fight this fear. These are my sensations, these are my feelings, my processes. Whether I can justify them or not, leave it to me. And there I understand that taking hostages just of my fear, because of my fear, is not a nice thing to do. As minimum, as maximum, it has no future. It leads to nothing. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to get better. Our relations will not become better, because it will pop up and keep popping up. So it's your teenage, your transition age, and that's our age. We started from something. We're going in this direction, definitely. Moreover, there is one more point. Do you want this girl to call? To make a call? I'll give you a tool, even if we didn't start from 5 years to get ready to her first kiss night. All right, if I'm, saying truth is nice and easy. If I understand that I'm scared, I can say that. I can pronounce that to my wonderful 15-year-old loving girl, just don't worry about that. I can tell the truth. I can say, honey, it's not about you. It's about me. I cannot say this word on Health in Moscow. I'm a bit out of my mind. I'm a bit crazy. I'm afraid. Help me. That's about pride. How can I say that? How can I pronounce that? Or maybe she can think that mother is alive and she's a human being. Mother is not a human being. Mother is a function. Wash it, iron it, and teach it. Tell her whom to kiss, whom to not, how long her dress has to be, how to wear earrings, and so on and so forth. Because you know everything. This is a surprising way. If we're speaking about tool you need to have in your pocket, that's your tool, because we have an extreme advantage, because they're still loving us. And they're not lying about that. They will start doing that just in a couple of years, but still they are not lying. That's why when mother and father is coming and telling the truth, oh, come on, how it is surprisingly perceptive. They know forgiveness. They know how to listen. It can change and turn upside down the whole system of rapport points in the life. It's not me who is wrong. It's mother who is afraid, who is scared, and mother needs me. But just do not manipulate this fear. That was a question over there. Quite long. Yeah, Dima, hello again. My name is Lera. I agree with you with this finishing the meal. And, well, come on, go on with the question. How can you preserve... I don't have time, but if I would have time, we would have such a wonderful investigation. I'm an early child in my family. All right. How can you preserve love and attention to a child when he is harming himself, for example? My child is overloading her memory. Neurologist advises to reconstruct her demeanor through discipline. What you mean? That's a tough regime. Same day when you get up, when you eat the same day, when you come from school, yeah, and have a rest for half an hour, and then you're going on, yeah, go into the field, right? The question is, how can I force her follow the discipline? Because, in fact, when I'm trying to listen to her, she is not stopping the flow of information. You cannot listen to her. You can neither work this time. She cannot. She's distracting everybody in school. Yeah, she's distracting. Yeah, everybody is important. Yeah, Valeria, give it to me. What's your age? What's her age? She's 8 years old. Come on, honey. She doesn't want to go to school. She doesn't want to give to school because the school is a piece of shit, just because she isn't undisciplined, right? Am I correct? So somehow she's not adopted. Okay, I'm sorry for this in between. A little small talk. I will put it for a little bit. All right, so we have a girl, 8 years old. It's not a teenager. Come on. Wait for a couple of years. She will become a teenager. But that's the correct time to ask this question. You know, STVD, there was an abbreviation used. It's DVG. That's a deficit disorder. ADD. If you want to see the syndrome, take a look at me. All the time when I was this girl, it was called bad behavior, and now they're seeing this as an ADD. Blame it on my ADD, baby. Stay cool. It's working the following way. I don't have time to speak precisely about how it's working, but it's working the following way. It seems to me that a framework is really important. I agree with you, neurologist. It's important and cool. But these frames and limits should be buried not by the supreme creature, because otherwise there will be no good for that. This frame should be established by a human being who is on my side, a person who is ready to listen to me, who will help me to establish these frameworks, but not to put these borders and walls instead of me, because otherwise I will wait for somebody to put these walls instead of me, put these borders. In this case, I have to say, a human being, being 8 years old, doesn't want to go to school. I think there is only one reason to that. Come on, Valeria, I believe you. I believe in you. What is it? It's not interesting for her. She is bullied there, and you, Valeria, would go to a place where you do not like and you are being bullied. But this little, make a word, have to force to do that. Just take a post of Veronica, we know what is better. And we still have this story circle. It seems to me the following thing. I have to generalize it and not to answer specifically. If you want to come up and we'll speak specifically. The story is the following. Now, children, just imagine, have rights to be where it's important for them and where they're doing some important, conscious thing, intention, with their intention. You know, it's a nonsense. It's a paradox. This place could have been school. School. We are betraying them. We are tricking them and sending them to school. All this flowers, white ribbons. It will be so interesting. Invent this nostalgia when we're leaving from the schoolyard. Squeeze nostalgia from us. We hate this schoolyard. The schoolyard, probably, but getting back there, we can come up only rolling our eyes up in the mist, because imagining how good it was. It was cool. Of course it was cool there. We were brighter, younger, we had friends. It had nothing to do with school very often, but we say, come on, these are 11 years. Come on, in 11 years you can kill somebody, get to prison, get out of prison for that. And the school is working differently, because you need that. Mama, who needs that? It will be, you will need it in your life. Mom, how do you know it's going to help you? Mom, did you use it? Well, I don't want to speak about that. Mom, come on, you cannot quote anything from the school program, maximum 7%. That's true. You can connect words into phrases, so you learn that in the first 3 years of your school. And do not tell me that this tells you not to go to school. I didn't tell that, and I will not.
Он говорит вам...
He tells the opposite thing. Why shall we go there? And the honest answer, at the moment when I return to this wonderful girl, 8-year-old girl, you don't want to force her to obey the supreme creature, and your neurologist next to you, it's very good. Make her, and she will know that the one who is stronger is always right. She will know that there will be a person next to her who will tell her how to do that, what is correct, what is not correct. Or we want the other thing. We want them to understand what is good about that. We're not talking about school. That is why I cannot expand on school. Please check it. They have the right to be happy. They have the right to understand why they shall go there when it's dark, when it's cold. This year it's not very cold, but they don't need to understand why I shall go there. And the answer is just one. There is only one answer. I think that you have to go to school to understand, to learn something new about yourself, about the world, which is interesting for me, yeah, to communicate human connections with yourself, with other people, to obtain tools which would help you to live. And it's great, it's cool to obtain such tools. Knowledge. Who needs your knowledge? Have you heard about internet? It's very simple. The knowledge which you don't remember, but the tool to understand what I want, a tool to understand how to build relations with what I want, a tool to connect yourself with the knowledge and to understand how this knowledge deals with my personality, with my development, with my self-confidence. Who has to do that? You, because there is nobody else. You, yourself. Because we love our children. Because we have to support them. That is why we have to make their life easier. We have to answer the question why you should go to school. And you will have to answer the question. And you will have to explain. I understand that we have such an intelligent audience. But the truth is that we have no answer, we don't know it. But the good news is that if you don't know, we can learn about that. Do we need it? And then we go to school? And it may happen that we do not allow to humiliate our relatives. We will not provide these mantras. If you don't humiliate it, the child will be using it, will take all the advantage of that. It's our close relative, it's our beloved person. We have to protect this person, not to spoil life. In this case, even with this syndrome of concentration deficit, we can do it. Yes, we have a question. In general, I believe that to ask help, to ask your child to help you, there is nothing to be ashamed of. I agree. I totally agree with you. It's not a shame to ask your children to help you, but you also need to help them. And it's great then they can ask you to help them. And at that time we don't judge them because it's our role, we are judges, and we can just help them. But the tango is a dance for a couple. Dima, hello, my name is Olga. In our family, we have very soft methods of bringing up, of education. We do not force. Is it your boyfriend? No. Somebody says. I just wanted to check it. And our oldest son is 15 years old. We come to the conclusion that he is just doing nothing, using us. Previously, what is the age? Almost 13 years old. And how is it connected with the homework? He does everything that he considers convenient. You do the opposite thing. He doesn't clean his own room, but not only his own. He does things which make his family feel uncomfortable with him. because of his freedom, inner freedom. He is not convenient for teachers because he always has his own opinion. It's terrible. It's not allowed to have your own opinion. And please ask a question. Did we do something wrong? What can we do? Maybe we had to punish him. Probably we should be. I don't have material at the moment, and we cannot have a long dialogue. I think that it's not the case. It's not the matter. I have no idea how it happens in your family because I need details. But I believe that it is not working like this about this inner freedom you're talking about, because it sounded like a white lord and a black slave liberates black slave, and black slave doesn't know how to use this freedom, these liberties. We shall make him a slave again? It sounded like this. What shall we do in this situation? It's very simple. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about that, not from position, listen, you are intolerable, teachers are not happy with you, teachers are our everything, we live for the teachers. To talk with him, to ask him which help he needs from you, and there will be a dangerous moment, I will tell this. Why is it so important for him to clean his room? Why can't you do it? I know everything that you are thinking about. If I do that, he will always do the same, and this unhappy girl or boy, because we are thinking about their future wives or husbands who will be very unhappy. I believe that it's great that he will be happily married, or that somebody else will, his wife will clean his room. Nevertheless, there is something for checking, to double check it. And I believe that it can be the situation, very simple situation, the simplest one, when you have to say, just like a human to human. You need to articulate why it's not convenient for you. Since I started this about the cleaning, we have this obsession we think that they have to clean their toys, they have to remove their toys. Which example I have when I'm 3 years old, when the mom or dad tells me, come on, just remove your toy. What is an answer? Which example this means? Of course, yes. This moment I need to find someone who is weaker and to make him clean something. It's very simple. This is a message of a mom. What mom says? It's discipline. I'm teaching him how to clean. It's paradoxal. If she cleans his room, do you have to go after them and to clean everything after them? No, they are very similar to us. They want to be like us, which actually makes us mad, how similar they are. And then my mom is cleaning something, I will clean it as well, because I want to be like my mom. It's the truth. You don't clean other rooms. Are you talking about yourself or about other people? Not truth. It was about you or about somebody else? How do you know that? I'm an adult, I have 3 children. It's not my favorite format, we cannot dispute. Check it. Just check it. When you say it's untrue, it's a lie, please check it. If it's a situation, wonderful situation, which you remember about the child of age 3 years old, when there was a wonderful mother showing this example, cleaning it together with you. I'm afraid it wasn't like that. I don't have time to dispute with you. You will easily find studies on the topic on the internet. We have 15 minutes to go. Thank you. It's not difficult to love, not difficult to understand, to support. Seriously? You're talking about terrible parents. have a second child and it's different. There are some things which have to be learned by a human being to be happy in the future. Which things? To learn something which knowledge I needed. You didn't need it? No, not at all. The question is, I cannot just leave my child alone. What's your name? Tanya. Tanya, wait a second. Just please wait. Please wait. Once again. My apologies. It's the first and the last time we see each other, so we can afford everything. How our mind works, how our conscience works. We run away from one point to the extreme because we cannot leave child alone. Tanya, breathe. Calm down. Who is talking about living alone? It's impossible with the close people whom you love. You cannot leave them alone. You say to love is easy. We're talking about people whom we love. We cannot leave them alone. We will never do that. Living alone, it's an extreme. Live just like you want to live. That's it. Is it about love? Tanya, double check. You can test me. You want to add something? You may sit, because I'm just running around. What about study? Studying in school. I know this formula. School should teach how to learn. Can those who cannot learn teach how to learn? Of course, this is how the adult works. We are experts in teaching something we cannot do, something we don't know. How is to study? What does it mean to learn? What computer games your children play? We don't know. You know why? Because I don't care. We don't want to learn. Because we are strong. We have these mantras. Computer games are harmful. It's obvious. How can we play it? It's a lie again. And we, being adults, we always invent some non-existing researches. Dear friends, what did your parents say? For example, if you are watching TV for more than 2 hours a day, you will lose your eyes. Looks like our eyes are there, but we continue talking that. Why? Because we are stupid? Because we are bad people? No, because we are afraid, because it's dangerous, it seems dangerous, and we are trying to protect. You need... I'm a teacher, if you don't know. I'm a school director. There is only one way to study. Of course, there are some instruments for punishing, but I understand what does it has to do with me. Then for me, Alexander Pushkin is a tool for research in my own life, processes which happen in my life, in the life of other people. When the acid production, who can tell about the acids, how to produce the sulfur acids? Do you remember that formulas? Dima, should you study that? I have no idea, but why don't you remember that? And at that moment, a new song starts, a very sad song. Formation of neuron connection. It's a great phrase. Nobody understands what it means, the majority at least. Because we're always talking, because it's an excuse again. Of course, we need to study. Everybody needs to study. You need to love this thing. But there is only one way to love it. If you take into account my mechanisms, when I feel bad at school, my mom doesn't tell me. It's very difficult for teachers to be with my child. How can I live with that? Maybe parents should support the child. There is something which doesn't work. Maybe you're not taken into account. Maybe you always have to prove that you exist. Maybe you don't understand. Why do you study that? Tanya, where are you? Why did you leave me, Tanya? It's not clear for us because it's obvious. We need to know how to learn.
You have to read. Keep reading this mantra. I'm a teacher of literature, by the way. Literature was good for me. I can speak about that. You have to read. Who needs to read? Mom, why don't you read? I'm reading where? Everywhere. All the time. iPad, in my bed. Oh, come on. Mom, if that's so cool, why can't I find you doing that? Well, come on. Mother she leaves for quite long. She has experience. You know, reading is fun. But people live without books, and you can become happy without books. Just imagine that. You can live a wonderful life without books, and I speak about that with the teachers, because they have to understand it in the entry. It's a cool instrument, another instrument, yeah. It does not make you richer, and does not make a person happier. Sometimes it's a different way. It's a cool and bright instrument, bright tool, but it's not the magic bullet. It's a silver bullet, a magic stick. That's the truth that I'm saying. That's how the links is performed with these very young children, because they cannot listen to the lies of the grown-up people. They cannot stand it anymore, because I discovered 12, 13 years or 14 years using the new tools that this is a lies. As for the hat, as for the food, as if you don't know this, that will not happen. As I know, this is going perfectly with the intellectual trick with Moscow St. Petersburg formula. I can raise your hand. Those who were taught to play piano. Yep, right? Raise your hands. Oh, my dears. And now leave those hands who can get out there and play something. I will check it. And the rest of you? Why did you learn that? Neuron connections. Them? No, my dear. You can see a person who can sit at the piano and play something. But this person will tell you the truth now, and the truth is the following. If I would have brought there, I don't know what I would choose. I would say, no way. Probably I don't know what I would have chosen, because that boy of 7 or 8 years old, who 2 times a week, sometimes crying, was doing that. And the young person who understood at a certain point of view that knowing to play piano is the best way to find a girlfriend. 11 years. And in 7 years, it's not an argument. Come on, it's not the only argument. Come on, it's music, it's fine. You know, it's not a simple story. It does not work the way that it will be so, like that. Because only I know at that moment, if my loved grown-ups, wonderful grown-ups, I'm inserting no irony, if these grown-ups would help me, who am I and what do I want, without telling that you are like that, it has to be like that. Word to the young. I wanted to ask about why grown-ups are trying to force you to do something. Well, for example, I'm doing modeling. I want to do that. Maybe there's such a case that I would be forced to do that. Or I don't want to do something. What's your name? Kostya. Why grown-ups do so? I will tell you. First of all, take a look at these grown-ups. They say they do not do like that. That's the main feature of the grown-ups. They say it's not true what you're saying. It's like screaming from inside. Well, first of all, if they say so, I'm not saying about you, but I'm speaking about other grown-ups. The other grown-ups say we do not do like that. They cannot even understand how they act. Now, the second point, I will be absolutely frank with you. What I think, we spoke about that a little bit, because it seems to me, surprisingly, they truly want to do it somehow better. But when they want to do it better, them as they are saying, you probably have such cases, and I have such cases, such situations. When I'm saying I want to do it better, I do not take a piece of paper and a pen, and I do not write down what I mean. I want it better. How is it? At the same time, as initial consciousness, at the same time, if I start to do that, I can formulate what I know. Then on my way, I can understand maybe it's good like that, maybe I don't want it better. It's a surprising moment. When it is mixed with fear, and it is connected with love, nothing to do, maybe it happened like that, I had it. It seems to me that if I close my hands over the neck of this person and force him to do so, to do the way I want it to do, it would be better. I will control the situation. Remember I told this story about TV, which most of these people was told the same text which I have said. Now, what our grandmothers and grandfathers, they wanted to do it worse? No, guys. They were afraid. And when I am afraid, I use this tool towards to almost everything new. What is happening with tablets? I'm not a fan that people, children are sitting with tablets from dawn till dusk. When I'm saying about that, no, why 15 minutes a day? Because we don't know how it works, and when we do not know, we cross it out. When in doubt, leave it out. We say that does not exist. We move it back, cross it out. And like 2 years ago, there was a research that those people who play video games, their reaction is much higher than those who do not. We say no, it's the American enemy. Research has nothing to do with us. We have our own neural links. Okay, it's quite strange. Kostya, let's just make it shortly. And something else nearby, and then it'll give me 3 minutes to make a nice conclusion. Just wanted to ask one more question. Why them, the grown-ups, don't want to help to direct? Like they said where to go, but they cannot direct you. Really, they're not doing anything to do it because they don't know. They truly don't know. If you want to change this situation, I'll be absolutely frank with you. Find time when grown-ups who surround you are cool, where everything is good. Pour some tea and say, guys, it would be really helpful if, and make a list. Rare grown-ups, of course, they will open their mouth. Oh, it speaks. Then, rare grown-up would not shake the hand which you stretch. You're standing for. All right. I was only there. You want to say something? Okay, +1. Fine. Come on. My name is Anastasia. I have quite a question. Why dominating over a teenager as a reason? As you go into polar conditions, either it becomes aggressive or he wants to be powerful and defend people, or he becomes restrained. My dear, thank you for this question. Because at the time I was answer shortly, I can take it out of the pocket. The question why, if we're speaking about the system of domination, vertical authority, a person has only 2 ways. Either to become, I will say, tougher, either to become a rapist or a victim. Because a person has only 2 ways, because it's not about you, I'm sure. We're living it to the maximum, we're bringing it to the maximum, because if I am growing in a situation of suppression, remember, it's quite a simple model. Or I'm learning this model, and as soon as I have the way to demonstrate, I would demonstrate it. Then 15 years, brother, schoolmates, and then I'm gonna go on as my wife or my husband, so on and so forth. Or in this same model, I learn to be the opposite. If we see it, these are the same 2 sides of the same coin. I'm following because I was taught to follow, and I go after school to the university. Obviously, in 2 weeks, I understand that I went to the wrong place, and that moment, the loving, supporting parents tell me, what you say? Well, you've already entered. You have to finish that. Only 4.5 years left. So. And then they call it support, and then they call it understanding of how life is. And at a certain point, guys, I am convinced that they are, as Kostya said, they are willing, wishing you good. But they do not formulate it. Generally, what good is in this situation? What do we want? Come on, I promise you those one. Good afternoon, my name is Victoria. What should we do if in a family, for example, one parent is playing God, continues to dominate, and the other parent is adequate? What can influence child more, and how traumatic it would be? And whose side the child will take, of a victim or a... Right, I'm not Cassandra, I have no idea which side the child will take. Is it a theoretical or practical case? It's a practical case. Okay, we have to talk with the second one who you given a hint about. How to talk, I think you can figure it out. Looks like you're fine with that. Saying about like, all right, all right, all right. The whole situation, nothing horrible happens, but there is a seesaw inside. Because in every situation, each of us is going to the person who can see someone, who can feel the warmth and love from the person. Then we have small manipulations.
Что ты хочешь мне подарить?
You're showing me the wish. You want to give it to me as a present? Can I have 3 more minutes? Okay. Then with this manipulations pulling in and out, whether it's gonna end dramatically, no, but it's a pity, you know. But I feel sorry for that. It will be the finale, and I'm sorry about the thing that moreover the child is, let alone the childhood is going away. We are losing the coolest thing we can get from the loving person. We are losing an opportunity and the right to see him developing. That's an amazing story. This is actually love. There is no thing, you know, and I know who you have to be. Why do we need him? Okay, let's go to the orphanage. You will become a person there. By the way, I forget to say. You know, the coolest thing, come on, husbands and wives. Of course, there is certain calm and happiness that we have stability. But isn't it cool? And she knows that, and he knows like that. What a surprising thing. I never thought like that. I never thought this is a personal relation. Personal, these, here they are. You can touch it. The moments when you say, I know, apart from what you managed to say, there is such stealing from yourself, such a big stealing from yourself, would not be justifying that. I'm really sorry about that. There is such a poet. It's called Eud Manor, and not translated into Russian. The second childhood. He has this poetry in a couple of words. I remember it, but in a different language. And a couple of words is established the following way. The father is singing about a daughter, and he says, "I am discovering the world once more. I was given second childhood. As a present, I have a second chance to touch the world, to discover the world, which wouldn't have existed if not my child. And now I'm doing the first step. Oh, what a wonderful happiness is that, to live a second time and to make the first step, so on and so forth. Seems to me it works this way." And the finale about the teenagers. Take a look. We didn't have enough time to speak about the tools of love, but I think you will manage it to do so. You can read something which I'm writing out, or will not read it. It's not the case. I want to tell you the following thing. We use an argument which sounds the following way. And it was here. If I am too morbid, too soft with love, he can think that life is a picnic. And how will he live in this tough world if he is not used to be tough? I can ask you the following thing. My dear, don't be afraid of that. Don't worry, because there will be a big number of people in the world who will try to ruin the lives of your children. And some of them will. These can be people very unexpected, like teachers, friends. This can be husband or wife. But there are only one people who, by definition, can try not to do so. They are alone. Us are the only people, by definition, to be on his side. Always, always. And when I disagree, well, tell him that you disagree, being on his side. Do not change the side. Do not add the pressure. Tell it from there about teaching, about the piano playing, about all that thing, because it is extremely important when we can be confident in one person, maybe two, maximum. Whatever happens, I will not judge you. Whatever happens, I will not waste energy to prove that I'm alive. I can't be told that they disagree. I can't be told that they consider me not right. But after that, I will be offered help. I have no idea how to help you, but luckily our relations allow me to ask you what can be your help. I think this is generally about love. Thank you. Love to you guys.